Hey comic book fans, today we're talking about Radiant Black issue 40. It's been a minute since we've actually talked about Radiant Black, and this is the newest issue. Now, I may have a lot more criticisms about this particular issue more than others, and that's because I'm not sure what Marshall was doing in this issue. Everything really confused me. The story starts off with him watching the news and podcasts, whatever, about the complaint about what happened. If you remember the last issue, Horizon, which is like the governmental version of Radiant Black, was nearly shot and killed. And Radiant Black himself was also there, and it was just this huge mess. But he's sitting there, like just mad at the entire situation. On top of that, his established girlfriend, which is like a freedom fighter of sorts, and others were locked up and contained as well. And he's not acting as a superhero in this particular issue, and you will know why later. And for some reason, I don't even recognize the character he's talking to here. But Marshall goes to try to get information from somebody, but they was like in this gay bar. It was a complete weird and unnecessary scene in this issue, but he's trying to get information on the facility that everybody's locked up in, and there's not much information to go on, but like the guy said, you still have to feed them. So that's how he ends up finding them, because even though there's no records or anything of them, you still have to feed them. So they're going off of that record, right, of where they could be. And the guy on the bed, the blonde, if I'm correct, he is Horizon. He is the guy in the suit. And they're talking about going through what he has to do and the repercussions of sorts. And we go to the facility where everybody is locked up in, and Radiant Black acts more as a villain than a hero in this situation. I say that because he goes in there, he infiltrates the place, but he doesn't have a clear plan. He's just trying to break them out. But you cannot do that as a superhero. If you are a superhero, there are certain standards you are, placed up against. And what he is doing is a selfish, thing. What he's doing, not only is it selfish, he's painting himself in an even worse light when the public already sees him as like the Antichrist. So you doing this is only going to paint you more in a negative light, which you need at least somebody on your side in the public eye. And he gets taken down by these, but they aren't superheroes. They work for this, pretty much like this section of the government, but he gets taken down by them, and then he gets in a fight with them, and now he's just fighting people. And again, I don't understand why he would take this approach. There's just certain things you cannot do, and this is one of them. And that's when he is met with a bunch of armed guards and soldiers, and then he starts fighting them as well. If you this publicly, I don't know what the next issue is going to show, but just in the news, this is just a bad look for Radiant Black. And I thought after the last arc that Marshall would have wised up and thought about situations before jumping into them, but apparently that's not the case. He's still doing the same stuff that in his world, the other world, got him turned into the enemy. It ended up killing his friends. I'm saying that same characteristics here. But now he's just fighting everybody, and he's hurting everybody, all the guards, the soldiers, etc. And yes, even if they are doing is unjust, there are still certain ways to deal with the situation without making yourself look even more like the villain when you cannot afford for that to happen. This is where Horizon jumps in. Now you have Horizon versus Radiant Black, and they're going back and forth. And even the dialogue, right? Not even just Radiant Black's actions, it is the words that he chooses when he's going up against Horizon in this situation that, doesn't paint him in the greatest light at all. I do not know the point of this issue, right? At least for Radiant Black, because this is just him crashing out, having an emotional breakdown through the entire issue. And when he's going up against Horizon, they both nearly die in this fight. They both nearly, destroy each other while harming everybody around them in the process because of their power and capabilities. In the end, Horizon has to be taken out of there because now he is injured, and Radiant Black himself is injured. Like, he's beat up bad, clearly. The guy can't even fly. He's just walking, and then he collapses. And nothing was actually achieved in this issue besides Radiant Black showing how still immature he is. Marshall showing how immature he is and how he cannot think before diving into any situation. And this is when the Red Radiant in Shift pops up out of nowhere and they find him knocked out on the ground. Hopefully they add some brain cells to this guy because he cannot afford to do anything else stupid, especially with the climate he's already in. And that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you for watching.